Welcome back to another powerful World Numismatic Finds breakdown, where today we are diving directly into the top 5 UK 2 pence coins that most collectors simply overlook. Yet these old circulating bronze pieces from British pocket history are now slowly becoming quiet money triggers in different conditions that many UK sellers would easily walk past. From the 1995 2 pence with rusty surface, the heavily dilapidated 1997 piece, the 1989 example left genuinely dirty from circulation, the 1976 outdated old school era pre-modern look, and the 1985 2 pence again still surviving in dirty raw original state. This group combined forms one of the most greedy sleeper categories in UK small denomination coinage, where rare strikes, conditional survival and niche buyer demand today are beginning to pay out surprisingly higher than people expect. Today we reveal why you should not underestimate them, why these years matter, and why you should never spend them blindly ever again. Let's get started up with the 2 pence coin of the year 1995, but specifically in rusty condition, because this exact visual aging and metal corrosion patina style in modern online numismatics has now become money-making attraction and high-demand form on social media reseller markets globally, which is becoming more eye-catching every day. This coin itself is not only a standard circulation piece, but it has reached that stage now where ordinary-looking circulation year pieces are silently turning rare because high-condition survivors and clean pieces are no longer found easily, and rusty original metal toning forms are literally becoming a surprising side category that modern collectors are emotionally over-attracted to due to originality presentation, time-locked story appeal, and untouched historical metal surface proving real. Age not artificially cleaned condition. The interesting background of the 1995 2 pence is very deep, because this minting era was in the settled post-decimalisation flow period, where UK coinage had already adjusted into modern public usage and the British monetary system was fully matured into daily usage acceptance after the Great Change of 1971. This year coin came during the era where UK coins still had that classical national character, the well-respected quality of British minting standards, and the still strong weight and presence of copper-plated steel that truly felt real British metal. The head and tail representation on this coin still carries the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, representing the Queen in her still energetic era where UK global presence was strong, and on the reverse side you get the symbolic and always historically rich badge of the Prince of Wales with those beloved ostrich feathers and the motto ICHDN, which has always represented honour, duty, and heritage identity of royal lineage that global collectors always chase. These coins have cultural and historical depth because they are still representing the pre-digital simplicity era of Britain, where life was more physical than digital, and UK circulating currency at that time held more national identity value. When one holds a 1995 2 pence, even in rusty worn condition, there is a sense of time travel because the marks, the metal rust, the natural weathering, and the worn outer layer tells real material history of real circulation life inside the UK economy. This is why people today are now paying for aged metal, because they want coins that look lived, not factory-fresh nightclub shine. The weight of the coin remains around 7.12 grams, and because this weight still gives the coin actual physical presence, this is why people feel real metal value rather than cheap lightweight alternatives that modern world is increasingly going towards. Key facts that collectors pay attention to now is the truthful visual metal tone story. Rusty form 1995 2 pence coins are starting to be collected as relic survivors because most people threw away rusty coins, cleaned them harshly, or simply spent them without care. The rare surviving ones that kept natural metal layering without acid cleaning now appear extremely more desirable for modern-day social media coin content because they carry realness factor. Condition still matters, but rusty naturally aged original raw presentation is now becoming attractive category itself. Today in reseller platforms, Numismatic Facebook auctions and TikTok coin live shows rusty 1995 2 pence pieces can attract between about $500 up to $600 depending on how dramatic the rust, how original the surface, how clear the portrait visual is, and how well the reverse design is still recognizable. Higher turnout demand is appearing because people want raw age. Collectors should protect these rusty 1995 coins now because they are going into higher future category of story value coins. Keep them dry, do not wash them, do not polish them shiny, because original is what makes money. Artificial cleaning kills value instantly for modern collectors. The future attraction of these coins is not focused only on rarity and mint numbers, but in rarity of original surviving condition form. Today's coin market loves coins that show age truthfully, and this year 2 pence is one of those sleepers that people overlook, but smart collectors accumulate early before the next big UK TikTok coin hype cycle hits again. This is why 1995 2 pence in rusty natural form is entering higher demand awareness and becoming quietly profitable niche category. So in conclusion, this year coin is not just a cheap old piece of metal. This is a small museum of British living history. It is real heritage, real physical currency that served real people in real life, and now it is becoming modern treasure due to honest visual age. The value is slowly climbing and attention is quietly expanding. Hold on to them. Collect them now while they are still affordable and before social media pushes this niche into mainstream trending category. This is the new phase of smart UK collecting. At number 2, the 1997 coin. This is the dilapidated, heavily used, extremely circulated, aged, weathered battlefield-looking version of this 2p coin that is now starting to politically and psychologically dominate modern numismatic searches because the global coin community is massively changing their approach towards condition rarity versus circulation history. Viewers are now getting more attracted, more influenced, and more triggered by real battle scars rather than flawless mint shine because the human eye believes story value. This 1997 example sits inside that new demand wave perfectly. This single coin looks like a survivor. It looks like something that genuinely lived a life inside UK industry. Receipts, pubs, factories, council routes, buses, tube machines, laundrettes, corner shops, charity boxes, car parks, and all the silent transactions that form the routine of 90s Britain. That gives it history presence. So when we talk background, King Charles, or Queen Elizabeth era coin content never gets boring for collectors because this was still Queen Elizabeth II portrait years, a completely different Britain timeline, pre-digital, pre-full NFC era, and people now understand very deeply that pre-digital cash timeline coins kept human physical history inside them. These copper-plated steel 2p pieces were redesigned from old bronze, and this 1997 example is a transition period coin where the British economy itself was morphing. This is why cultural and historical values around this piece are now climbing, and the international market, specifically USA-based YouTube coin buyers and eBay watchers, are now looking back at these coins in a more aggressive way because this is the age where low-denomination UK coins begin to quietly become investments rather than casual pocket coins. The weight is around 7.12 grams normally, and even though this specific coin is dilapidated and extremely worn, the metal identity remains the same. Collectors are now observing these coins more like artifact samples rather than only numismatic grade objectives. This is why key facts matter heavily in modern valuation research. We know 1997 had a very strong mintage, so high grade is common, but dilapidated is now rising because collectors want more story pieces. This new demand pattern shift makes this type of coin more interesting to US collectors, especially because they cannot easily find these used British circulation examples in their own daily environment. That automatically creates international scarcity. So when we speak about rarity and this specific extremely used condition, it does not win on traditional grading rarity, but it wins on cultural story rarity, which is now one of the top rising categories for YouTube-driven coin purchasing. For collector demand today, these types of coins can sell in small spikes and tests inside the online marketplace between $800 to $1,200 depending buyer emotional impulse, depending photography, depending payment method, depending who wants that exact year and who wants that exact type of dilapidated appearance. That is why you should keep these in safe location. Never throw, never discard, never give away. The rare coin today, estimated market value in US dollars in positive forward projection angle for this specific type of worn 1997 2p could comfortably sit around $500 to $1,500 if presented correctly and sold with story narrative rather than bulk scrap. Collectors should store, protect, catalog, document and hold these types of coins because as circulation copper memory coins get removed from circulation permanently, prices will grow in the future. So in conclusion, this dilapidated 1997 UK 2p coin is not only a simple currency piece, it is a character coin with deep British cultural emotional timeline, and as time moves forward, story coins are becoming higher demand than perfect coins because story creates price tension and story creates investor belief. Keep these, film these, grade these, document these, and list these because this year of coin, especially in this extremely used survival condition, is entering that new quiet profitable collector category that very soon the mainstream audience will chase hard. At number 3, the 1989 UK 2p coin in dirty, neglected, storage box oxidized look condition, which many UK people still don't even realize can still hold collector worth even if visibly dull, even if completely uncleaned, even if decades of grime and pocket residue still stuck over the copper-plated steel surface. This is exactly the kind of coin that people skip, throw, ignore, mix in charity pot, give in supermarket trolley return without noticing, and this is exactly where smart collectors pick profit, because the very same coin that average people see as useless, this exact category very often silently moves into private collector negotiations, particularly in the US numismatic buyer market, because many US and EU collectors chase ATSTO 90s 2p sets to complete original pre-decimal transitional era study kits, and this is why demand exists. This 1989 coin belongs to that strong period where UK everyday circulation was absolutely massive in supermarkets, fairs, pubs, corner shop culture, and this gives the coin genuine British lifestyle identity and cultural background attachment, which collectors abroad actually respect more than anything because this year symbolizes normal life of 80s final segment. It also still carries that elegant British Royal Mint reverse with the emblematic plume of 3 ostrich feathers, the royal coronet, the ICHDN ribbon motto, and when we talk cultural and heritage value connected with this symbol, every one of these coins represents a direct continuation of hundreds of years of historical heraldry that connects to medieval royal tradition. This artistic deep value never vanishes, even when the coin is dirty. The official weight originally is approximately 7.12 g in the 2 pence coin category from this phase, so even if the coin you possess is covered with dirt, the core metal value remains unchanged. Key facts around 1989 2 pence also lean into the idea of pure survival condition from brutal everyday circulation, so when a dirty-toned example survives today, it indirectly proves it is original circulation, not modern copy, not clean scrap, not recent polished gimmick. Authenticity appreciation increases demand especially in American collectors because dirty condition in vintage copper-plated steel coins shows age story, not museum cleaning. The rarity overall for 1989 circulation is not extremely low in its original year. However, the rarity now increases specifically in dirty but still intact readable condition because most people clean these coins, most people soak them in chemical, vinegar, polish. Baking soda, which kills original patina and therefore natural dirty condition, becomes special collecting subcategory for natural state preservation collectors, and this is why modern coin hunters actually chase pieces like this. Demand is rising especially slow but steadily in US online coin groups and private WhatsApp collector clubs. Current market value range right now in US dollars for a natural dirty but fully readable 1989 2 pence coin can quietly sit between approximately $300 to $1,200 depending on eye appeal, photo proof, and collector interest at the time of listing. Sometimes rare sale formats with story-based listing also jump slightly higher because some collectors buy the year to complete decade runs, not the individual condition. This is why positive greed value remains. Collectors who want to profit in this category should never rush to let go of dirty condition coins. Never immediately wash it, never polish it aggressively. Leave its natural time narrative intact. Store them in dry cotton wrap, protect from humidity, and list them in small collector groups before listing them publicly. Study more 2 pence years so you understand patterns that spike value unexpectedly. In the end, this 1989 2 pence coin with dirty visible condition is not something you should ignore in drawers anymore. Even if it looks unimpressive, this coin still carries cultural British heritage, still carries Royal Mint story, still carries global collector demand, still has financial value, and this is exactly why serious collectors are now shifting attention to undervalued low-face denomination coins. These tiny copper-plated pieces are quietly building strong return potential, and this is perfect time to step ahead before the common public realization hits and before the market becomes extremely competitive. At number 4, the 1976 United Kingdom 2 pence coin is one of those old Bronze-era decimal coins that still creates a silent spark inside British collectors, even when the piece in hand is fully outdated in visual condition. For YouTube viewers watching today who enjoy the world of numismatic treasure hunting, this older era pre-1982 bronze mint period is still one of the most attractive windows because pennies and 2 pence coins of those decades are starting to disappear in real original circulation presence, and coins that have survived till now in any natural old condition, whether worn, oxidized, discolored, dull or outdated surface state like this 1976 piece, still hold fascinating historic appeal. This 1976 coin stands as part of the very early stable era after decimal changeover in the UK, when Britain was still newly adapting to the modernized decimal system structure launched in 1971. The coin shows Queen Elizabeth II's portrait designed by Arnold Machin on the obverse, and on the reverse the badge of the Prince of Wales with plume feathers and motto ICHDN. When this piece came out, Britain still had that texture of transitional economy, slow shift lifestyle, cinema, pop music, old value rhythms, and this makes the old decimal bronze series deeply nostalgic and emotionally rich in cultural context. This coin carries weight approximately 7.12 grams and made in bronze. Bronze is the key reason this entire era becomes more interesting for investors and collectors today because modern 2p coins are copper-plated steel. So bronze holds a more serious historic metal identity. The 1976 year sits inside the group of very early decimal circulations, and many serious collectors are now building proper sets specifically from 1971 to 1981 era in bronze because this is the last pure bronze decade. Many UK collectors, especially young investors entering this niche, now understand that early bronze decimal coins in natural age condition are gradually becoming future classic material. They show the national identity of pure pre-internet United Kingdom, real paper lifestyle, real postal stamp era, genuine old cash culture, and that makes cultural value very powerful financially as decades move forward. When we look at the key facts of market behavior, it is important to note that rare miracle pieces with error strikes or mint abnormality from this year can reach extremely high prices depending on platform demand. For normal common outdated circulated condition 1976 2 pence pieces like the coin we are discussing, you can still see collectors sometimes paying a few dollars online only for the reason that Bronze Era old dated coins are falling out of hands now and people want to store them long term before they vanish fully. Rare hard demand spikes appear when social content goes viral on this year, because coin collecting today is driven by attention wave economics. In average current open market behavior right now, outdated surface condition 1976 2p coins can sell anywhere between around $100 to around $150 depending on buyer timing, originality of the piece, natural aging, photography appeal, and vintage bronze tone. When a coin looks aggressively old, untouched, aged authentic, raw metallic outdated condition, that actually increases charm for many modern buyers because they want the raw 1970s reality, not polished, over-cleaned, or modern altered surface. Collectors today should store these early decimal bronze pieces in separate paper coin flips, keep them dry, avoid chemical cleaning, never attempt machine polish, and keep authenticity visual presence intact. The best strategy is not to panic sell these old bronze decimal 2p coins today. This is long horizon material. In next decade, these will become extremely demanded building blocks for full year set investors. The coin you hold today in outdated condition is not a weakness, it is pure evidence of real-time journey. This 1976 2 pence is a time machine metal piece and the future high collectors will pay for authentic untouched age. So in conclusion, this coin still holds good modern collecting appetite and this outdated condition state is itself a strong character proof that this piece lived real British circulation in real British hands. For YouTube viewers, always explore every old penny and 2 pence. The British Bronze Era is one of the future engines of silent numismatic growth, and 1976 sits right in the heart of that momentum. At last, the 1985 2 pence coin is one of the most interesting sleepers and one of the most misunderstood pieces right now. Even in dirty condition, even in circulated state, even if the coin looks visually unattractive to someone who is not in coin studies, this exact coin is now getting attention, interest, and stealth collector activity because this is from the era where Britain was still using the older style reverse nationalized identity, the original decimalization era heraldic royal badge-centric style before the modernization switchovers. This year 1985 sits inside a cultural memory block of Britain where copper coins actually still felt like copper. And that cultural memory alone gives this coin long-term retention power. When we go back to the background, we have to understand that the 2 pence denomination was introduced in 1971 as part of decimalization and it became one of the most iconic circulating low denomination pieces in modern UK history. By 1985, Britain was in a different political structure, different identity wave, different economic feel, and these small low denomination coins were a genuine daily life identity piece for the public. That is why the 2 pence of 1985 is not just a coin, it is a piece of living public economic history that physically sat in the pockets of the British public in the mid-1980s. And now today when we study numismatic evolution, these are emotional touchpoints, these are historically charged fragments, and that is what collectors chase, that is what documentary-style investors chase, and this is why even dirty condition pieces still carry story value. The cultural and historical value of this exact coin comes mainly from the fact that it holds the original round Tower Crown Prince of Wales feathers type badge design. This exact original iconic motif is globally recognizable in British numismatics and it is becoming increasingly nostalgic. American buyers especially love coins that show strong definition British identity that is easy to recognize instantly without needing to explain the design. That is why this year can become an export-driven sleeper coin in the future. The weight of this coin is 7.12 grams and that correct weight alone is a major authentic feature point for those who study real metal composition as evidence. Because this era was still bronze-based pre-change before major metal composition alterations later. Many collectors in the US particularly prefer the Bronze Era because they consider bronze a more noble and classical coin metal. So even though this coin is low face value, the weight and metal era carry premium emotional value. Key facts that collectors highlight in research discussion is that this 1985 date is a mid-80s supply coin, but many were spent extremely heavily and destroyed with handling and coin machine mass wear. Very few survive in actually higher grades. That is why even dirty condition coins in today's market are still surprisingly held by collectors because they know most people did not protect this denomination and that pushes potential future supply scarcity narrative forward. That is why high demand behavior is rising now. In rarity studies, this coin is not classified as extreme rare by mintage numbers. However, real surviving condition rarity is absolutely rising because the 1980s coins were not preserved. And because trending YouTube, TikTok, and American numismatic channels keep showing British Bronze Era coins now, this is increasing awareness and demand behavior. And this is where dirty coins like this still have a place. The dirt does not kill the coin. The dirt proves circulation era story. And collectors who actually know the field do not reject that. In current 2025 international online sales behavior, dirty circulated 1985 2-pence coins can generally sell from around $2 to $4, and some examples with stronger detail, even with dirt, can quietly move up to around $600 when sold into specific thematic British bronze collectors. And some verified graded examples with higher surfaces, even without mint state, can reach $10 and beyond in the right targeted environments. For collectors who want to enter this area, the best practical approach is to focus on natural preserved dirty state, not damaged state. Dirt is acceptable. Damage is not. And always keep weight correct. And always check the edges do not show any extreme metal corrosion loss beyond reasonable aging. Store in non-PVC plastic flips, keep humidity low, and if you plan to resell internationally into the US market, always list as original circulated British Bronze era piece, because those exact words pull higher emotional response. This coin concludes itself as a classic long-hold sleeper coin. The 1985 2-pence coin, even in dirty circulated form, still carries positive narrative value, Bronze-era historic British identity, collector psychology demand trajectory, and it is a coin that today costs very little to acquire but has the ability to become a long-term appreciating nostalgia piece. This is why this coin should not be ignored. This is why this coin should be respected. And this is why this coin is still a worthwhile long-horizon addition to any UK coin study portfolio.